Gotta say, if you told me that the Sonic movie would be well received by moviegoers and Sonic fans, break records in the box office, and lead into multiple future projects, I would have said you were crazy. I mean, can you really blame me when this is what the main character originally looked like? I already talked about the whole ugly Sonic debacle in my Sonic 1 movie review, so I won't repeat myself. The only thing I will say is that if they didn't go back to change Sonic's design, this movie series wouldn't have gotten more than the one movie. But fortunately for us, Paramount and Sega did go back to the drawing board, and with help from artist Tyson Hesse, Sonic looked better than ever and fans showed their support for the film. With around $320 million made in the box office, it was clear Paramount and Sega knew what comes next. And in May of 2020, it was confirmed that Sonic Movie 2 was indeed happening, with the first movie's director Jeff Fowler returning to direct the project. It would take time for the second movie to be released, but as time went on, we were given small teases of what's to come, such as the movie's logo on February 10th, 2021, which reconfirmed that Tails would appear in the sequel, like the post-credits scene showed in the first movie. But on August 10th, we were teased with something even better. A single image of a certain echidna's glove with the caption, "Knock, knock." This was tweeted by actor Idris Elba, who announced that he'll be voicing Knuckles in the upcoming film. Not someone I expected to voice a red cartoon echidna, but with such a great actor taking on the role, I was really excited. And on December 8th, we got another look at the film with the teaser poster. Sonic posing on the tornado with Tails in the pilot seat, along with a more game-accurate depiction of Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, not to mention him riding in style with his iconic Eggmobile. The fun wasn't over yet, because the next day at the Game Awards, Paramount dropped the first trailer during the event, showing us things like Tails receiving an updated model from the one we seen in the post-credits scene, and snippets of multiple locations Sonic will be traveling to throughout the film. But the major highlight was the reveal of Knuckles himself and the first line spoken by Idris Elba.
Do I look like I need your power?
After this trailer, I was really pumped to go see it. A far better response compared to the original movie's first trailer. Another thing that I really liked was that Colleen O'Shaughnessy remained the voice of Tails for the sequel. Considering Sonic and Knuckles were recasted, I assumed that she would just voice Tails in the post-credits scene and they recast for the sequel. I'm glad they didn't. It's nice to have someone who actually has history with the character, with multiple games under their belt, come in for the film adaptation. With excitement for the film building up, April 8th couldn't come any sooner. And while we did get another trailer in March just before the release, like other movies, leaks showed up every now and again. While I'm not sure just how many there were two specifically that I saw prior to the movie's release. One with physical character models on set, which I believe was the first reveal of the design for Knuckles prior to the trailer. The second leak was from a recording on a smartphone during the filming in Hawaii, in which you could hear James Marsden in a scene. I don't look up much in terms of leaks and behind the scenes info, just the trailers and some news articles. I rather go in somewhat blind. But leaks like these were bound to happen due to the hype online for the film. And all this excitement would reach its peak with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 releasing in the United States on April 8th, 2022, just 2 years after the original movie's release. And what did I think about it? Man, what an improvement. With the world building handled with in the first film, Sonic 2 starts out of the gate running with a fun story about Sonic and friends going on an adventure to stop Dr. Robotnik from taking over the world. While still maintaining elements from the first film to make this version of Sonic its own, the inclusion of multiple aspects from the game like badnik designs, locations, lore, and set pieces, longtime fans had so much here to enjoy. There were some issues such as pacing at certain points, but overall I left the theater very happy with the sequel, and felt it succeeded with what it set out to do. An entertaining family movie and a celebration for fans for a character they grew up with. And just like the first movie earlier this year, I sat down with my buddies Richie and Caro and rewatched the sequel to see how it holds up 2 years later. And hey, now's the perfect time with Knuckles releasing on Paramount Plus later this month, and the third movie in December. The first movie I felt held up really well after 4 years. Now the only question is, did the sequel do the same in 2? Starting off our adventure, we're taken back to the Mushroom Planet to see everyone's favorite maniacal doctor, Dr. Robotnik, played once again by Jim Carrey, who's making the best of his situation after being stranded on an unknown planet after losing a fight against a small blue alien and a cop from Montana. While surviving on the planet, and also attempting to create the best mushroom coffee in the galaxy, Robotnik and Agent Stone 2 work to create a device to return back to Earth, so they can get some good old-fashioned revenge. And after some blood, sweat, tears, one of Sonic's quills, and a lot of mushroom coffee, the machine works, sending off an SOS beacon through space, which luckily caught the attention of some random civilization who went to investigate. Who are these people? They look human. Are they? Doesn't matter, because Robotnik is multiple steps ahead of them, setting off some traps to incapacitate and possibly murder them. With them out of the way, he runs to the portal to leave. But before he could run through, a certain red echidna appears, stopping Robotnik right in his tracks. Here we meet Knuckles, voiced by Idris Elba, who sees Sonic's quill in Robotnik's hand and demands to know where he got it, only for Robotnik to respond with the best reference in the entire movie.
I'd be happy to show you the way.
I know people are over this meme. I'm sorry. I like it.
You don't know the way.
Cutting back to Earth, we go to Seattle and see Sonic, voiced again by Ben Schwartz, who's using his powers now with some vigilante justice under the name
Blue Justice!
Yeah, work on that. Quick camera shot of the police cars below, referencing Sonic Adventure, and Sonic jumps off the rooftop to stop the fleeing bank robbers who are giving the cops a run for their money. While subduing the criminals was easy, stopping the car and multiple active explosives was another thing, resulting in property damage, panic in the streets, and probably a couple sessions of therapy for the guy who was duct taped and tied up in the back of the truck. Wait, how did Sonic rip the tape off so cleanly through the holes? But anyway, after posing on the rooftop for a questionable job well done, Sonic runs back home to Green Hills, Montana. And after a whole few seconds of rest, Maddie, played by Tika Sumpter, comes into Sonic's room to remind him that he was supposed to go fishing with Tom this morning. Out on the lake, we see the Donut Lord himself, Tom Wachowski, played again by James Marsden, who confronts Sonic for recklessly using his powers the night prior. Wow, the journalist who wrote that worked fast. Sonic gets annoyed being lectured to, like how a kid acts when getting reprimanded by a parent, and just wants to help people with his powers now, since he's no longer hiding. It's nice to see Sonic develop from the events of the first movie, from being alone and scared about using his powers, to now having friends and family around him, and wishes to help people. Tom just wants what's best for Sonic, and tells him that the time will come for him to do some good, but for now, just be careful and take it easy. Right before leaving him home alone as he and Maddie set off for Hawaii for a wedding. Cute little family interaction and a power bump later, Sonic gives a ring to Tom to teleport back home after the wedding, and Mom and Dad leave their kid home alone with the dog. Seeing this for the first time, the only thing I thought of was, okay, so this is how they'll get the human characters out of the picture for a while. And while yeah, this is a way for Sonic to go on his own adventure without the characters from the previous film, Tom and Maddie still play a role in the movie, as we'll cut back to them every so often. Considering we're getting 2 new leading characters in the plot, it made sense to split people up, so there aren't too many characters on screen at once. With the Wachowskis on vacation, relaxing under the sun with the happy couple, Sonic is having the time of his life at home with his buddy Ozzy. But the fun would be cut short as Dr. Robotnik stops by for revenge, and with his new BFFAE, Knuckles. Slight property damage to the house later, Knuckles beats Sonic and demands him to return the Master Emerald. While Sonic has no idea what he's talking about, Robotnik is intrigued as Knuckles refers to it as the ultimate power. However, Tails cuts the conversation short, ramming a police car into Knuckles and escaping with Sonic. After Tails finishes fanboying about meeting his hero, he explains that Knuckles is the last of his tribe, and has been searching for the Master Emerald for years. And after barely dodging an explosive demise, Sonic and Tails fly away to escape. Robotnik catches up to Knuckles, and already has the gears turning for his next evil scheme. First things first, gotta catch up with an old friend. Cutting to Agent Stone, who's been lying low in Green Hill this whole time, working at his own coffee shop.
Thank you for visiting the Mean Bean.
Okay, that's a pretty good name. Wanting to look good before he heads over, Robotnik freshens up and grabs some badniks while he's at it. And here, we finally get the full game accurate portrayal of the Mad Doctor. Looks great. Obviously not as round as in the game, but that was never a deal breaker for me. Love the red jacket. Also, the remote glove he uses were always a cool feature. As Knuckles is ready to leave to pursue Sonic, Robotnik does a little flossing and offers an alliance to reclaim the Master Emerald and use it to finally destroy Sonic. Knuckles agrees, and the duo head off to the Mean Bean. Meanwhile, Sonic and Tails stop by Wade's place to figure out what comes next. Luckily, Sonic's map starts glowing and a message from Longclaw plays, explaining that whoever controls the Master Emerald can make thoughts into reality, along with providing the first steps into finding the gem, so they can protect it from those who wish to abuse its power. And that's the main plot of the movie. Sonic sets out with Tails to hunt for the Master Emerald to stop Robotnik and Knuckles from finding it first. With what was shown in the trailers and currently in the movie, you'd notice that they'd taken story beats from multiple Sonic games for the plot, specifically Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles. Introducing Tails, having him fly the tornado, and other aspects we'll see later on are from the second game, while Robotnik and Knuckles working together and the Master Emerald is from 3 and Knuckles. While I only ever played the second game out of the OG trilogy prior to the movie's release, I felt it was a good idea to incorporate multiple games into one story, considering 16-bit games from the 90s could only tell so much. With Sonic and Tails off to the Himalayas, Robotnik and Knuckles meet up with Agent Stone for some nice coffee and attempt to track down Sonic. In the meantime, we check back in with Tom and Maddie on vacation, when their niece JoJo comes over to show off the rings for the ceremony. After messing around with JoJo and the rings that clearly won't have any impact to the story later, Tom talks with Maddie on how he wished Sonic had friends to bond with, showing that the three of them really became a close family since the first film, and they really care about Sonic, practically seeing him as their own son. Maddie ends the conversation saying that Sonic's a smart kid and he'll find his way, only for us to cut back to Sonic and Tails where they indeed do not know the way. With a snowstorm blocking their vision through the mountains, they take shelter in a log cabin for the night, which leads to one of my favorite jokes in the film. Oh god, why? As they lay low and get something to eat, Tails mentions that he learned about Sonic from the incident at the baseball field and has been watching him ever since. Maybe a little too much, cause it sounds a little creepy that he even knows Sonic's preference in bathing. The downtime is halted, however, as their disguises are taken off and are about to be thrown into the fire. Jesus, movie, chill. Tails luckily is able to stop them by challenging them to a dance-off? Okay, sure, why not? Unfortunately, it doesn't start off good as their opponent is just too smooth. I mean, look at that tattoo. This man knows how to move. But things take a 180 when Sonic decides to play some of his music, and he picks Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. I never mentioned it before in the previous video, but there is licensed music in the movies, and while I don't mind their choices like Don't Stop Me Now from Queen, Bruno Mars? Really? Maybe it's just my preference, but what an odd song to go with. Anyway, after changing the music, Sonic and Tails magically improve their dancing skills and don't get burned alive. Wow, that sounds horrible. Afterwards, Sonic offers Tails to stick around, and Tails is overjoyed just to have a friend, mentioning how he was always bullied for his two tails, which is a nice nod to the games. With a good night's rest, the duo reached their destination, ancient ruins that were hidden within the mountains. Here we get more background information on the war between the Owls and the Echidnas, as well as the creation of the Master Emerald. For the movie, the 7 Chaos Emeralds were forged together to create the Master Emerald, where in the game, the Master Emerald was its own separate thing, with the ability to control the 7 emeralds. I like this change for one specific reason. If the Chaos Emeralds made the Master Emerald, then it would save us such a hassle finding all 7 of them during the movie. Films don't have the luxury of multiple hours like video games do to go on a scavenger hunt, so with all of them together within the Master Emerald, it allows more time to be spent on other things relating to the plot. With the history lesson completed, Sonic and Tails mess around with the ruins to acquire a compass that will lead them to the Master Emerald, only for Robotnik and Knuckles to appear wanting to take it. Redirecting a missile into a statue caused the ruins to cave in, allowing Sonic and Tails to escape, giving us a nice set piece down the mountain that could either be a reference to Sonic 3 or Sonic Adventure. Take your pick. No, not Sonic 06. Get that out of here. Here we also get our mandated Quicksilver scene, as Sonic blows up multiple badniks so gracefully, before continuing to go downhill with Knuckles fast on his trail. With one clean hit, Sonic is knocked off his feet, and the two rivals have a moment to talk, blaming each other for ruining their lives. Knuckles reveals that he lost his whole tribe because of this war with the Owls, and wishes to claim the Master Emerald just to bring honor to them. His backstory mirrors a lot with Sonic, as they both didn't have it easy growing up, and his connection with the Master Emerald carries over a key aspect of the character from the games, wishing to honor his people and act as the Emerald's guardian. Before Sonic could attempt to resolve things peacefully, Tails attacked Knuckles from behind, not realizing that they were just talking. With things going south, Sonic throws the compass at Tails, only for Robotnik to grab it and shoot Tails out of the sky. My god, that's some bad green screen. Usually it's not that bad, but yeah, that's very noticeable. While Sonic checks on Tails, an avalanche starts, allowing Robotnik and Knuckles to escape, and Sonic having to grab Tails and snowboard away to safety. Quick on his feet, Sonic calls Tom to have him use the ring from earlier to get them out of the mountains, only for Tom to realize he accidentally swapped the ring out with the wedding ring with JoJo. Tom quickly runs up to the altar and attempts to grab the ring peacefully, before punching the groom when that didn't work, allowing him to open the portal for Sonic and Tails to escape the avalanche. But before anyone can catch their breath, the government swoops in to capture Sonic and reveal that the whole wedding was part of, I'm not even kidding, Operation Catfish. Why? Was this the best way to get close to Sonic? Having an agent marry Maddie's sister and play the long game? Sonic wasn't even invited to the wedding. Were these agents here on vacation? Or did they think, don't worry guys, he'll show up, eventually? Best part is the head of the operation was the general from the first movie, who Tom refers to as the Olive Garden guy, which I just love. Also, it leads to a pretty good joke with the priest being an agent. Olive Garden guy explains that after the incident with Robotnik, Gunn was created to deal with Sonic and similar events if they were to appear. Sonic, Tails, and Tom are taken away, and here we get the biggest issue some have with this movie: the wedding escape segment. Maddie and Rachel use the gadgets in Tails' backpack to break the boys out, and while also getting revenge on Randall for lying about the whole relationship. And this whole segment takes up a decent amount of time. I didn't take much issue with this bit the first time I saw the movie, but here's the thing. I actually saw the film a second time in theaters with another group of friends, and boy, did it drag the second time around. It dragged so much that when planning to watch it again with Richie, I asked, hey, do you just want to skip the wedding escape segment? Richie said no, so we end up watching it again. And gonna be honest, it wasn't that bad the third time around. Maybe it was because I saw the movie twice so close together that it felt like it was dragging the second time. But it came and went rewatching it this time. Also, I mentioned in the first video that I don't mind the human characters, and gonna be honest, I actually do enjoy the little bit of Rachel we see. Did this have to be in the movie? Absolutely not. Was it horrible? No. Would I understand if people told me they skipped this part when rewatching the film? 100% yes. So, after that detour with Maddie breaking the guys out, we see Robotnik and Knuckles teleport to an island that'll open a path to the Master Emerald. And with a giant green beacon in the sky, Sonic now knows where to go next. How lucky for him that the secret mystical gem just happens to be hidden off the coast of Hawaii and his family just happens to be there for a wedding. With Sonic feeling guilty that Tails got hurt, he goes on his own to get the emerald, running across the ocean similar to games like Sonic Unleashed, but unfortunately wipes out due to the rough weather, only to wake up on the island he was heading to. You sure you're not part rabbit? Because you've been really lucky lately. After both teams traverse through the labyrinth, they reach the Master Emerald, and here, Sonic faces off with Knuckles for the last time. And it's a really good fight, incorporating hand-to-hand movements to showcase Knuckles' skills, and having Sonic run around the environment to get hits in with his speed. While this is happening, Robotnik sneaks past them to reach the Emerald. As the fight reaches its end, they both realize what Robotnik was up to, and before they can do anything, Robotnik betrays Knuckles and claims the power of the Emerald for himself. As the labyrinth starts to flood in, Sonic tries to escape, only to notice Knuckles is trapped under the water. Without a second thought, he quickly jumps in to rescue him. After narrowly escaping a watery grave, they reach the island and take a second to talk. Knuckles is confused on why Sonic would help him after everything he did, and Sonic simply answered with, it was the right thing to do. Even though they both face hardships, they can move on with help from the people around them. With the rivals resolving their differences, and Tails commandeering a plane for Hawaii, the trio join forces to go after Robotnik to reclaim the Emerald. Which brings us all the way back to Green Hills, as Robotnik and Stone get surrounded by the military, only for Robotnik to show off his new abilities, dealing with them swiftly and starts creating his new weapon, the Death Egg Robot. Side note, can I just say how nice it was for Robotnik to take Agent Stone with him? Stereotypically, you expect the big bad to leave the henchmen behind once they have the ultimate power. Nope, Robotnik is such a good friend and boss. But back to the Death Egg Robot. Wouldn't it have been crazy if they didn't show this in the trailers? Fans would have gone crazy. But I get it, showing it off in the trailers would also get people excited. Team Sonic teleports to Green Hills and goes after Robotnik, only to be taken down one after another. It wouldn't be until they figure out a plan together using all their skills that they can start fighting back. While Sonic annoys Robotnik to move him away from the town, Tails and Knuckles sneaks in within the machine to take on the man himself. With a good clean hit from Knuckles, the Master Emerald is out of the doctor and the robot powers down. Only for Eggman to use some backup power to get it started so he can go after the Emerald. Sonic, after being injured earlier from a laser, grabs the Emerald and is saved quickly by Tom and Maddie before getting stomped. Getting tired of all this, Robotnik hits the truck and traps the family to finally eliminate them. Hoping to use the Emerald to stop him, it unfortunately shatters in Sonic's hand, and with it destroyed, Sonic isn't sure what to do. He asks Tom and Maddie to leave him so they can get to safety, but they refuse to leave him and stay by his side. Aw, isn't that sweet? I'm sure everything will work out. Oh. Shit. Nah, I'm just kidding, they're okay, as Sonic uses the 7 Chaos Emeralds to transform into Super Sonic. With a few good hits to the machine, Robotnik is finally defeated and falls into the fire, never to be seen from again. Unless, maybe, you know, Paramount got a nice big check for a certain someone. Sonic transforms back to normal and the trio agrees to protect the Master Emerald together. Power bump later and we transition over to the happy family playing some baseball. Even though some people don't really know the rules exactly. With everything back to normal, Tom is happy that Sonic has friends of his own to grow up with, and Sonic tells him that he's grateful to have a dad like him. Anyone else thought that sounded weird? I know that's what they were going with this whole time. Sonic calling him dad out loud? That was weird. But anyway, the family heads out in their nice Chevy truck and go out for ice cream. But not before quickly grabbing the cooler they left behind. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Well, almost. Can't forget that post-credit scene where they tease a certain other hedgehog for the third film. Gonna be honest, As someone who grew up with the adventure games, this was really cool. Now, that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, a big improvement from the first film. While some issues carried over from the first film, like the occasional bad green screen and some bad jokes, other issues like the pacing were present. While the first movie dumped a lot of info at the start and had that stereotypical friends fighting bit in the middle, here the outlier was that wedding breakout bit where Sonic was MIA in his own movie. Also, when it came to Tails, I felt the spotlight was put more on Knuckles rather than the character with his defining feature being included on the movie's logo. I get that including Knuckles was a big thing too, but I feel a little bit more Tails wouldn't have hurt. Also, did they really have to make him spy on Sonic? It seemed creepy. This is just a nitpick, and that aside, I did like Colleen O'Shaughnessy's performance as Tails in the movie. Idris Elba too was amazing, and was a perfect fit for the Echidna, so much so I would say he's my favorite voice for Knuckles. All the returning actors also did a great job, with Jim Carrey once again stealing the show. It looked like he was having more fun this time around as the Mad Doctor, from how he said his lines to him just moving about in scenes. Licensed music is to be expected in Hollywood movies, and while I'm usually fine with them, that Bruno Mars dance sequence was kind of odd, but I'm sure younger viewers didn't really care. Like the first film, this is a great family movie, but where it succeeds better at is being a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, connecting more to the source material while also going in its own direction. The fans really got something great here. And the box office shows, with the film making $405 million, along with leading into the soon-to-be released Knuckles mini-series and the third movie releasing this year. The film even beat Bruce Almighty as Carrey's biggest 3-day domestic opening for a film. I mentioned before, I'm not big on scores for my reviews, and the past few videos I made, I didn't give a number score. But since I did for Sonic 1 giving a 7 out of 10, I should give one here. So, with that, I give Sonic 2 an 8 out of 10. Minor gripes aside, this is a film for families and fans of the series to enjoy. Now, all that's left is to watch Knuckles, and I'm all set for December. Probably should play Sonic Adventure 2 though. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, drop a like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment telling me what you like the most from Sonic 2. And also your favorite Sonic game. With that said, thanks again guys, and I'll see you all later. Bye.